Well, good day. Welcome back to Dust Customs. And, I'm sure all of you that have been following along are probably interested to see or hear what happened with that car and probably want me to keep working on it. There's been some issues. If in that last video you might have heard the noise that it was making. Also, when I dropped the oil afterwards, there was shavings in the oil, aluminium stuff. Probably, more than what you would want to see, but, I've been through it. The engine's been out and back in again without, showing you guys. I think I've sussed out what the problem was, but you'll have to tune into the next video to see what that is. Today, I've just been busy. I've been working a lot and it's been hot. We're in the middle of a heat wave. It's been horrible. So today I went for a cruise with the fellas. We went up to a motor museum. There was a rear engine vehicle day, so I took the blue bus up there and it went good. It was running good. The issue I've got with it is, we're going for an interior on this thing. It's going to happen soon. I actually just sprayed the seats up with a vinyl spray to give it a bit of a temporary look. But the issue I've got is I'm not happy with that, configuration. Also not happy with the fact that they're not accurate. They don't work really. So the temperature gauge starts at 60 and I just don't really know what's going on with it. If this gauge is to be believed, I'm cruising down the highway doing 100 at about 2,500, less than that maybe. I don't know if I trust it. I just don't know. So on the way back from the cruise up the coast, I bought myself some gauges. I just went and got a whole heap. Actually, where I got these from was Super Cheap Auto, and Super Cheap Auto, when I reached out to them for sponsorship, was kind enough to at least reply to me and say, look, we're not looking to sponsor anyone at the moment, but here's a gift card. And they gave me a gift card, which was kind. It was $250 gift card, and it paid for these gauges. So thank you, Super Cheap Auto, for helping me out, helping a fella out on, this small Volkswagen channel in Australia. Anyway, so I've got the gauges. They're SAS gauges. I've got, what have I got? It's a water temp, which, that should be fine for oil temp. I've got a tack. And I've got an oil pressure. So what we're going to try and do is reconfigure this whole setup. I also got a couple of these, which are like pods to, and I'm thinking we're going to be under there somewhere. I think, we're going to be under there. The tacho, when you're driving this thing, you want to be able to see your gauges, and the problem is, that is just in your way. So I don't know where I'm going to put this tacho. Maybe it lives over there. Could do. It's got a mounting kit in it as well. Anyway, first things first, I'm going to cut out all this old stuff that was done. I've figured out that the blue is the signal wire to the tack. When I say blue, I mean black, is the signal wire to the tack, and the blue is the signal wire to the oil temp. So we'll just snip them. Power, this is all my powers, and the powers are like, hooked up, basically all on at once, which is okay. But I'm just going to snip all them. Well, I didn't really need to snip them, they just fell off. So we'll pull them out and I'll reroute all of that, better, make it nicer. They were just poking out of the dash there. I'm going to remove all this palaver. That one I think is just got that double-sided tape thing. That one's got a couple of screws in it. I'll pull all that through. Anyway, I'll just remove all of this junk and then see how we're going to go about mounting the dash. Look, this is going for an interior, and I am planning on colour matching this dash. It's one of the things I want to do. I've got the paint, but that's not going to happen today. I just want to get this basically set up, and then we'll, the ultimate goal, dream, was could I make that fit in that, but I think it's too big. let's pull that dash out from the front and see, you know, can I do something like that? All right. Well, I've realised I've actually used these before, these SAS tacos. I had one running in Rat Trap for a bit, and so I thought I'd, you know, grab it as a bit of a sample. I've removed the dash, and when I was playing with these last time, I removed the front bezel so I could take the innards out, so I could drill some holes in the back to make a mounting bracket of sorts. And so, you know, I thought I'd use this as a bit of a sample guide, sample rig, to see if I could actually make this work. Now, the news is, I can. That, with the bezel removed, pretty much fits, you know, like perfect in there. The only issue I've got is that it says SAS on it, and I don't really know if I want that, you know, in the dash of my kombi. The good news is, you know, removing the dash, I can clean up all this junk, which will make it nicer. And I can clean the actual panel as well while I'm at it. I'll see if I can, you know, squirt it down with some stuff and try and clean it. And I'm just wondering if I'm going to have to pull this apart that far. I mean, for one, I don't really need that, you know, recoil doohick. Let's just pull this thing further apart and see what's what. Because, I mean, you know, that's kind of cool and all, but, I mean, I guess it fits in there with it. But the stock glass might just go back in there, and I might just be able to remove all that and just have, like, you know, not that recoil button on there, which I don't really need. So anyway, let's just play around with this a little further. Well, I was going through options of how to, you know, cover that up. I tried a little bit of black paint. Looking at different stickers that I have, was thinking of maybe just cutting something out of a sticker. I got a heap of these Autometer stickers. I mean, that's kind of cheating though, you know, if I was just to get one of them and, oh, there it goes. And, you know, just do something like so. I don't know. Definitely looks the part. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I do have a bunch of Autometer gauges that I may or may not be able to use. When I bought those other ones, it was because I thought I better check my stock. That fuel gauge, I don't think I do. I think they're all pretty much used up. What's that one? Oh yeah, so there's a temp. I do have a temp. What's that? That was the clock. God, I have an oil pressure. Anyway, that's for another day. But, you know, while I was doing such things, I kind of got carried away, and suddenly, you know, before you know it, things escalated. I ripped the whole dash out. Why would you do such a thing to yourself? Well, mainly because I want to clean it. I want to get rid of all, you know, that jazz before I kind of zhuzh it all up. I want to see what's going on with the wiring. I mean, there's speaker wire and stuff going on in there that probably realistically, you know, I don't want going on in there. I wanted to see if all the switches were okay, and I want to clean them all up, and I kind of, you know, so anyway, that's what I did. I ripped it all apart, and currently in the process of outside, you know, I'm going to take the dash apart. The dash is in very good nick, which is good. I mean, these are a full steel thing with a couple of little pads in them. speaker. You know, so I'll take that off, take all the bits out. I'm going to just sand it right back and then primer coat it, and then I'm going to paint it blue. Because I thought, you know, that would be a cool thing to do because I got the blue, so I might as well. And if I'm going to paint it black, I may as well paint it blue. Anyway, I've just got to mist a couple of these little 10mm bolts. I'll undo all the bits that I can and get that bad boy out of there. Well, good afternoon. I'm back. Finished another hot day in the sun, and God, if you can see today, I got roasted. All you got to do is take a look at the back of my neck, and you would know. Yep, it was hot. Over the last couple of days, I have been working steadily on the dash. So, you know, there's the bits kind of primed up. You know, I didn't do a great job. I just did it's just good enough. Just good enough. And I'm about to hit it with a can of this again. So this is that 2K paint. You know, it has the thing that you crack in the bottom. This is pastel blue, which is the colour that I decided that this is, and it seems to be blending in pretty well. The bits on the back here, I never did quite get around to buffing the rest of it in, so I will do that eventually. But, you know, in other places, it looks pretty good. So I'm going to hit this with a pastel blue. As far as I know, the 68 buses came with a colour match dash. This one didn't, but I like the look of it, so you know, I could either paint it black or I could paint it blue, and I'm deciding blue is what's going to get. So anyway, I'm going to just, you know, put these up, hit them, probably give them 2 good coats, and then hopefully that's enough. So that was 2 fairly decent coats on that. I really tried to spray down in the cracks. There is some fluff, but that'll be all right. You know, I mean, like I said, it's just got to look better than what it was, and it definitely does. Like, that's a nice shiny blue bumper. Dash, you know, pretty happy with that. No runs, which is good. You know, that'll look good. So I'll let that dry. I also actually hit one of the sides, and there's an ant crawling on it, which is great. I did not prep that at all. I'm going to rub back through it and just kind of try and uncover some of the patina. It was just a bit too much for what I wanted, as some of the stuff is in this bus. Yesterday I got nearly made on this little doohickey here, which was so that was the back of the dash. As you remember, I was playing with this. I haven't actually opened up the real one yet. What I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to wrap some nice tape around that to kind of dust seal it. And then I've got this thing that I made up, which has a soft kind of backing on it, bit of foam in there, which goes over that, and will clamp that down to the original mount. So there's been no modification to the original mounts at all. And, you know, when you look in the back of it, you know, it's a bit skew-whiff at the moment, but it's basically a taco mounted in where the blank is. So I'm happy with that. Then, of course, I've got to clean this up. I need to clean up all the components of the dash, including the dash pad, which is this. You know, I'll give it all a very, very good clean before I reassemble it. The glove box, and you know, there's all the bolts, all the hardware. I've just left it kind of there. Reassemble that, and I've started cleaning behind the dash, just trying to get all the grime out of there, so it's just not grimy anymore. Like, you know, you kind of get in there and it's clean. And that's what I'm doing. You know, it's exciting. You know, very. Other than that, I think I've mentioned previously that I've got a bed liner that I'm going to spray the whole inside of before I take it to get the interior done. Notice I painted these grey. That was cool. Temporary. That's just temporary. I've got to kind of decide how much I want to go into, you know, fixing the patina. I would like to bring these things, you know, a bit further back than what they are now. Like I didn't want it to be that much patina through all of here. You know, that's probably something I can do as I journey along, you know, bit of steel wool, bit of soap. I want it to kind of, you know, this has obviously had a big repair through here, so I want that to kind of blend, you know. Like what's going on up here, you know, someone's just hit that with a brush. Like I'd like that to be a bit better than that, you know. And this side, I want that to be a bit better than that, you know. This side door, pretty good. These sections are where someone's, I don't know what they've done. They've hit it with a grinder, and of course, I'm not going to leave that. I think I'm going to paint that in and then just try and rub through it. So it's kind of these rubbing throughs that I'm trying to do to bring the patina down, but also up, you know. Anyway, I'm going to keep cracking. Another stinking hot day, and I have been making some progress. So yesterday, I can't even remember if I showed you, but you know, it was that hot. I probably had heat stroke. I painted the panels blue. They come up pretty good. Look, you know, again, it's not perfect, but it's a heck of a lot better than it was. I gave them overnight to dry because, you know, I thought that was the best thing to do. This afternoon, I left all these black bits soaking overnight to try and get rid of as much as dirt as I could. They still weren't great. So what I ended up doing is plastic priming them and then hitting them with some of this good stuff. It is the same paint I used to, you know, paint the temporary seats. You know, I realised that this thing is getting a new upholstery, you know, and it's not that far away. So I really kind of have to push on it, you know. So what I'm going to try and do right now, the workshop is like, it's probably the worst it's ever been. I mean, you know, look at it. It's just like, I've got to clear some space because I need a bench. I need this bench to, you know, start assembling the dash, you know, which is this, which has been nicely painted as well and is looking pretty fresh. I found, this is the taco that's going in. This was, you know, like in that one I'd stuck an autometer sticker in, but this one, you know, it's not an autometer. So what I did was, this was a sticker that I got in Mexico when I was there a couple of years ago. Cut it off the bottom of a sticker. It says chingon, and chingon in Spanish, Mexican slang means cool, as far as I can tell. So, you know, it's cool. I don't know. It looked the part. Anyway, so yeah, I've done this, I've done that. I just need some space. I've got to clean this up so I can actually reassemble this dash. As I reassemble the dash, I'll be able to put it in, plug it in. I've got to, you know, this all kind of, also spent a fair bit of time last night just cleaning, you know, behind the dash. It's actually pretty good now. Like, it's just not a dusty, horrible, oily, greasy thing that it was. I cut the old stereo out because I'm going to be putting a different stereo in, cleaned up a bunch of the wires, and we're kind of just ready to go back again, you know. So I'll see how far I get tonight. I'm still going to try and get to the gym. It's just, you know, how it goes. Anyway, let's clean this mess up. Well, I love it when a good plan comes to fruition, and there it is. So that's the you know, tack mounted in. It you know, fits like it should, you know, basically looks like an original thing. So now I've got to try and mount this back in the dash and try and remember what all these, that's custom. I can't remember what went in that, but it's definitely custom. Look, I know I set out in this video to you know, put a couple of gauges in the dash. As usually happens with me, things escalated quite rapidly, and it's turned into a whole interior respray. It's just how things go. I mean, you know, like, I've got this thing, the interior's booked in. It's in February, and I mean, like, I've got a holiday in between now and then, and it's just, if I don't do it, it's just not going to happen. the idea at the end of this video is I'll be peeling off the wrap and you'll see the dash and at least one of the gauges I was planning on installing at the start of this video. But what you will see, I've spent hours and hours and hours and hours cleaning up the inside of this, removing glue, treating rust, cleaning, painting. I've done this this epoxy primer. It's basically designed to be a anti-corrosive primer. So I kill rusted it, I kind of filled some rust, I did a bunch of stuff and I primed it, and I'm just about to crank up the compressor and spray this thing, and I thought I'd better give you guys an update. Anyway, what I'm doing is I'm just picking up all the mess that I had around to do it, because I know once I'm done I'm just going to be like, phew, that's over, and not going to want to do any more. So what I do know about this stuff is it's going to travel, so I'll move that. I'll cover up the wheels. I've covered up a lot because I do know it tends to rise and that kind of, you know, not as bad as when you're spraying, but, you know, to like paint. This stuff kind of, it's heavier so it goes down better, but I think I will move that. The last blue bus we painted, the old black Patrol, ended up with a slight blue haze and it just never came off. So cover up the wheels and so forth. I've covered up the whole back so that way I can just get in here and just spritz it on. Actually, there's one last bit I've got to remove, is this stuff from in here, so I'll just pull that out. I've done everything else. Oh, that was the other thing. Someone cut a hole in this thing. I want to remove that silicone because I am probably going to have to do some kind of a half decent repair. And by half decent, I mean at least better than what's on there now. And I don't know what that's going to be, but silicone also paint doesn't like sticking to silicone. So I don't know why they would have chopped that door in there. You let me know. If you know why someone would just hack a door into the back of a nice low light, please let me know. Well, normally about this time I'd be walking over to the bus and I'd be like, look at this, how mint is it? Beautiful, you know, dash is in, da-di-da-di-da. You know, the last shot you probably saw the dash was in. But no, it's not in, it's back out. Not only is it back out, I've stripped all the paint off it. Something had gone wrong with the 2K paint that I put on there. I don't know if I pushed the thing in hard enough. It just, like, it was hard, but it was like you could, if you pushed your finger into it, it would leave a fingerprint, and I was not going to put it back together in that state and then have to pull it out again and do it all again. So, you know, it's one of them jobs that you just put off and you put off and you put off. So I'm just doing it. I just thought, stuff it. I am going to rip it out and go again. So basically what I've done is I've just paint stripped it, I've hosed it, I've scraped it, I've done all kinds of stuff to make a huge mess. Now I'm just rubbing it back again and I'm going to prime it, and you know, if the primer kind of goes off, it's a fast drying primer. If it goes off quick enough, I might get paint back on it today. Let's see how we go. Alright, so basically I stripped them back to bare metal mostly, and I've given them one hit with so I'm using, it's called ground coat grey, which is basically it's another Protec product. It is on the technical data sheet. It's basically, it is used for 2K top coat, so you know, it seems to do the trick. Anyway, I'll just let it dry, I'll give it a scuff, give it another hit. I'll see how fast it's drying, and hopefully if I give it a couple of hours, it might be suitable to hit it with a top coat. Let's see how we go. Alright, well, things definitely escalated on this video. Started out wanting to fit a couple of gauges, as I said earlier. Did I get the gauges fitted? Well, kind of. I got one of them modified and fitted. But this has all been painted again. I'm hoping this time, you know, it dries. That would be good, because it looked pretty good when it was all put together. That was you know, that, and I, you know, painted this dash this time, so that was nice. I used a vinyl spray on it, so it should look pretty cool. I got the glove box done, the dash bit done, you know, all that was kind of done and ready to go back together. While I was working on this, I actually went over a couple of bits that I'd done previously that I didn't like. There was a blend there that just didn't look good, and I don't know about you, but God, that looks a heck of a lot better. So hopefully that works better. I'd done a blend through the middle of that door which I didn't like, so I did that, and I actually, this bit was like all the paint had worn off it and was rusty, so I painted that as well. And what I'll probably do is just kind of rub back through it and try and get some of this you know, rusty kind of effect like I've got in other places. You know, this is not an effect, this is real. There it will be real too, but it'll be kind of man-made. It was just a bit too much for me. The inside of the bus is all painted, and that worked out really well. I'm really happy with that. I mean, it's, you know, it looks very clean. Before it was kind of all not very clean. Under the seats are all done too, so now I can put the seats back in it and actually have something nice. I'm pretty happy with that. The floor, I mean, you know, you could see there'd been a big patch done in the floor here, which is okay. I'm glad I didn't have to do it. Someone else had done it already, and that's fine. Kind of taped up as much as I could. I've cleaned all of that, as I said earlier, as best as I can. Like, I'm not ripping out the whole wiring loom and going to town. I just wanted it to be good. You know, noticing now, you can see where someone else has had you know, done a touch of repairs, and the colour's very, very wrong. I probably should hit that. I am finding probably a little more rust in this thing than I would have liked. What to do? So anyway, you know, boom, boom, boom. This is there. This side of the bus is actually pretty good. That was just a clean. There was a patch I did there that you can barely see. Like that repair, you know, paint repair is really good. See, all of this is done. I'll have to untape everything as well. And of course the dash panel that I made with the tack installed is there, ready to go. I guess in that, I'm just going to have to say goodbye on this one. I mean, I'm kind of done. The day's done, and the weekend's done. So, you know, I hope you guys all had a great weekend like I did. God, it gets busy. I mean, back to work tomorrow. I mean, how does it just go so fast? Anyway, that's me for now. I'll catch you guys later.